Okay, and then let's get started so it's not going to be too late. Since we have a lot of content to cover today. So welcome everyone to the webinar, Digital Solutions for Community Needs. I'm very pleased to have you here today with us and two of the FEANSA members, which is BAGW from Germany and Solinum from France. I would like to remind everyone, since it's a meeting mode on Zoom, to mute themselves when they are not speaking. And as you might have noticed, we are recording the webinar. So in case you don't want to be visible in the recording, I encourage you to put off your video. But it would also be nice to have some videos on for the speakers and also during the Q&A sessions to make it more personal. So you can put your questions into the chat during the webinar at any point if questions come up, but we will have a dedicated Q&A session in the second half of the webinar where you can also unmute yourself and ask the question in person. So the agenda is we'll have the presentations by our members in the first half and then the Q&A session. And we are going to start with a quick Slido, a word cloud, asking you participants to see the audience, see what the notions are that exist around what digital street work could be. So my colleague shared the Slido link in the chat box, and you can use it and say what comes to mind when you hear the word digital street work. And I will share the Slido word cloud at the end of the webinar. Okay, and while you enter your words and notions, I will already start introducing our speakers for today. The first speaker is Mona Hörtnagel, and she's a trained social worker and works at BAGW in Germany, which is the Federal Working Group for Assistance to the Homeless. It's a nationwide association of social services and institutions supporting people in special social difficulties. And she's presenting the BAGW project Social Media Street Work. The project develops and offers multilingual outreach and initial information and referral advice on social media for marginalized EU migrants, members of minorities and homeless people, as well as people at risk of homelessness. And I will give the floor to Mona now to present the first project. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for the short introduction. I will start with sharing the presentation. Could you see everything? Just the short?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm working, like Eva Schwab said, as a social worker and project employee since more than 2 years in the social media street work project. And for you, in the next 15 minutes, I will give you a short introduction into what we are doing in this project. So it's a partner project between the National Federation for the Homeless in Germany, for which I'm working for, and another company called Minor Konto, with 2 different target groups. So we, from the side of the National Federation for the Homeless in Germany, are mainly focused on people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. And our colleagues from Minor Konto are focused on newly immigrated, particularly disadvantaged EU citizens. And of course, you can't draw a specific line in between those two target groups. But the point is that our colleagues from Minocontor are native speakers in Bulgarian, Italian, and stuff like that. So it's easier for them to reach out that target group. The project started in 2022, and the first period will go till September 2026. So what we are doing, it's a model project, and we are testing and developing online outreach support, especially for people who are at risk of or who are affected by homelessness. And how are we doing this? So sometimes we support people by providing initial information. And in case it's needed, we also give them referral advice. We do this on different social media channels, and it's nationwide. That means we do it all over Germany. Right now, with the target group, people who are homeless or threatened by homelessness, we are on those social media channels on the site, like Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, and there are also people texting us via email. So they reach us through the contact form of the National Federation for the Homeless in Germany. And on that picture, you see our Facebook page. For those who have social media, you can reach us out through @socialmediastreetwork on Instagram. So we're happy if you check out our account. And for those who don't have social media, I brought some examples of our postings. So this is a post about an online platform of the National Federation for the Homeless in Germany to seek for help. So you can find help for emergency housing assistance, you can find a bed for the night, you can find medical care, and you can find this nationwide. So this is a thing we often share with people in need in case they want to look by themselves. But it's also nice for us as social workers to have a platform to look for help, because it's a lot of research we are doing to share the right helping institution to the people. Another posting we did in the past is a posting series about why are people in Germany homeless. And it should show to people that it's not an individual problem, it's a structural problem, and that's some kind of educational work we are doing. So this post is about the lack of affordable housing. So now we have to talk about what is digital outreach work. So first of all, it's important to develop social media channels and also to maintain them. That means we have to do very often postings, we have to do stories, we have to be in different groups, we have to chat with people, and all stuff like that. We are mainly on Facebook, and my colleagues and me, we were social workers, and before that job, we worked in an analog help in the emerging housing assistance. And we thought about what were the life situations of people in need. So, and there were people who had mental illness problems, people who were in violent relationships, people with debt, and all stuff like that. So we were looking for all those groups on different social media channels and went into those. And another thing is that we are on those bigger groups where people are looking for flats and housing. And there are groups which are nationwide, but there are also groups for specific cities like Berlin, Hamburg, Munich, and stuff like that. In the project, another thing is also to counteract misinformation and hate speech. I will show you short examples afterwards. And what we're doing is we are so-called monitoring all those postings in those groups, which means as a social worker, I'm reading through those postings and taking a look if people are in some kind of invisible homelessness or if people are homeless already. And then I do public comments like, "Hi, I'm Mona, I'm a social worker. In case you want to take support, you could do this or that, or this helping institution would be available for you." Another thing, also in digital street work, which is important, like in analog social work, is the quality assurance, which means you have to document every case. You have to do case discussions. You have to do supervision, further trainings. And of course, it's very important to do exchanges with other stakeholders. And as far as we are online and on social media channels, we see that there is a fast changing in the discourse, how people are reacting on social media channels. And this is something where you have to stay up to date all the time. Till now, we contacted more than 7,000 people in 7 different languages. Like I said before, our colleagues from Minoconto are talking Bulgarian, Croatian, Italian, Polish, and Romanian. And we, from the side of the National Federation for the Homeless in Germany, we are consulting in German and in English. And here you see a list of all the social media channels we are on right now in the whole project. I also brought you different numbers about the project till now, and we found out that the most frequent consulting topics is about housing shortage, housing loss, and apartment search. The next bigger part is access to the labor markets. Then it's about marriage, partnership, and parenthood, which means people are in breakups and need another house, or people are building up families or marry and want to move together or need bigger homes, and that's sometimes hard to find a new home. Then other people have problems with officers or authorities because they had bad experiences with them. And it's also about health and physical integrity. We found out that the most people we are reaching out are female. A lot of other online projects also found out that they reach female the most. The next bigger group are male persons. We also reach some non-binary people, and there is a bigger group of not determinable people, which means on social media channels, some people are anonymous, some people have nicknames, and you can't tell if they are what kind of gender they have. So that's the reason why. And one big plus point of the social media streetwork project is the preventative character, which means most of the people we are reaching out are at risk of homelessness. This means that they are still in their flats, in their housing. So it's a very first start where we could introduce the help. Some people are already homeless. Some people are formally threatened or affected by homelessness. And there are also some rough sleepers we are reaching out, as you can see in the graphic here. Like I said before, I brought some examples for you that you can see more how our daily work looks like. This was a post on Facebook somebody has written. I will just read it out loud. Somebody wrote, "Good morning, this is urgent. I'm looking for an apartment for me and my 2 daughters in specific city and nearby. We don't smoke and we are quiet. We can move in immediately. Please, I really need help." So you can see that I marked some keywords in red. The word urgent is a keyword for us, and also the move in immediately could mean that she is already in a homeless situation and she is also asking for help. So this would be a posting where we react in a public comment. Another thing is also counteracting misinformation. There's somebody wrote that she already got the termination of the rental agreement some months ago and she has to move out by the end of the month. And this person is a single parent. And then another person answered to this post, "As long as you haven't found an apartment, she has no right to throw you out of this apartment. Don't stress yourself out. Legally, you're safe there, especially as a single parent with children." So this is a posting where we have to do public comments that legally this person is not safe there. So we provided some referral advice, information for all those people who are also reading the post and just said the right information. And we are also observing that especially people from the Ukraine or from Russia who get governmental help here in Germany often experience hate speech. And this is some kind of typical hate speech we are seeing on different social media channels. I will just let you read it by yourself. So this is also a posting we are reacting. Of course, we are reporting this to the admins of the group. We are reporting this to the social media channel. And we do a public comment and tell the person who is the victim of the hate speech that she could reach us out in case she wants to have help or needs support. And to see the difference between the channels, I also brought you some examples from Telegram. If you take a look at those 3 examples, you can see that they are very short. So on Telegram, the chats are short and faster than on Facebook, for example. So there are, in 2 minutes, there are 20 or more postings in those housing search groups we are in. And there is someone saying like, hey, I need a house from next week starting on. So I marked again the keywords next week starting on means that probably this person is homeless by next week. Or again, the keyword urgent, we want a home. Or someone is saying it out loud, I don't have an apartment, I sleep on the street. So this is a posting we for sure answer. And to summarize that, I just want to show you the advantages of the digital offers for emergency housing assistance. Of course, I want to say that there is no competition between online social work and offline social work. So we see us as a bridge from the online world to the analog world, because it's very important that there is personal help out there. So we should work together in a way. And the biggest point is the prevention, as I said before, that we reach more people who are at risk of homelessness than those who already are. It's also what we are doing is some kind of clearing process, which means that people are directed to the right place more quickly. And this is more efficient, this is saving costs, and this is saving resources in personal helps. We also see that there are looking a lot of people on the countryside for help, and there are sometimes no services locally. So we found out that sometimes initial information is enough. And especially for those people on the countryside, online helps are really cool to get some help. And if you compare it with the analog emergency housing assistance, we have wider reach. So in the analog help, mostly you sit together with one client face to face and just one person gets all the information. But here online on social media channels, we have many silent readers who get the information, which means sometimes we also get private messages where someone is saying like, hey, I saw your social worker, could you also help me? So we have a wide reach with all those information, which is very important. And if I have to summarize the insights from the project work till now, we could say that more women are reached than other gender identities. We observe a lot of solidarity, especially in those groups for people who are experiencing violence, mental illness, or for people who are single parents. We see that those groups where people are looking for houses and flats are hotspots for us. And you can also see that those problems which are in the analog world, you can see a little earlier digital. For example, the lack of affordable housing. That means that the target group is changing a bit. So there are people with a better income also having problems with finding flats. And yeah, so you can say referral counseling can empower, and information is often enough to activate the self-help forces of the people. And the project has, like I said before, a big preventative character, and you can't separate those words like online and offline because people are moving everywhere. And till now, we can see that people who are threatened or affected by homelessness can be addressed on different social media channels. And we see as a sustainable opportunity for the future a combination of on-site offers and also online offers in some kind of blended counseling. Like I said before, it's saving costs, it's more efficient in a way. We are also doing a lot of handouts and publications in different magazines about the project, and you will find all our publications and more information about the social media streetwork project online by scanning that QR code, or also you can just see the link to the website. So thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you a lot, Mona, for the presentation. And I think it's a really interesting project, and yeah, showing how you can reach out to groups that are less reached by in-person services, and how your advice works in the area of homeless prevention particularly. And I think also interesting the point about how online and offline work can complement each other. I'm sure there are going to be more questions afterwards. So I already see there is one question in the chat, which I will ask you now, and then we move on to the next speaker. So Nadine Peters is asking, is the project financially backed by the government, or is this a non-profit organization? How do you fund the social workers, or are they volunteers? And yes, and whether you could slide back to the QR code once more.
Yeah, I can do this. So first of all, it's a so-called EHAP Plus project, which is funded by the European Social Fund Plus. And you will also find more information about the funding on the link of the website. So I can just share again the presentation and go back to... So is this enough? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes,
Mona.
thank you.
Perfect. Then I move on to the next speaker, which is Alice Deron. She's the Director of Development at Solinum in France. And Solinum is a French social innovation organization that develops and shares accessible information tools to connect vulnerable people with social services and strengthen the collaboration between solidarity actors. And she will present the Soliguide, which is a free and anonymous platform that references the places and services of solidarity and the range of services for homeless people in the territory of France. So welcome, Alice, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Eva, for the introducing. I'm delighted to present to you our action. So I will share. Okay, perfect. So we are a French nonprofit association created in 2016. At Solinum, we envision a future where access to information as a universal right, facilitating effective inclusion for all. We believe in the power of digital technology as a lever for social innovation, capable of radically transforming access to services and support for people in situations of vulnerability precarious. Our vision is of a society where everyone, regardless of their situation, has the ability to quickly and effectively find the resources they need to improve their condition. To achieve this, we have developed two tools. So Soliguide, a platform that helps people find the resources they need, and Solidata, a decision support tool. And both are built on a single and unified database. So those two tools address an important need in Europe, as the latest figures show that more than 94 million people live below the poverty line in Europe. So despite the significant need for help and support, we know, for example, that in France, that not everyone has access to services. Some social service providers have already been forced to turn people away from their facilities, or people experiencing precariousness have encountered being turned away from a facility. Soliguide as an online platform that allows users to quickly find the information they need. So it provides information on every category of aid, from emergency social support to socio-professional integration for individuals, addresses of service location, access procedures, the type of people served, the services available at the facility, etc., etc. Soliguide is available in mainland France, Réunion, and soon in Mayotte, so the Outre-mer. We have also been operating for a year in Catalonia and Andorra, thanks to a partnership with local organizations that develop Solinum tools. So there is the current statistics. We have more than 100 service listed, organization registers on Soliguides. We made like more than 4 million search in 2024, and we have some professional and volunteer users in the platform with the professional account. So the most important thing for us is the quality of the information we share to guide people, because we know that if individuals encounter a closed door, their entire integration process is at risk. So to ensure this, we update the data twice a year. Currently, about 30% of updates are made by the organizations themselves through their professional accounts, and the rest is updated by the teams that deploy Soliguide in their territories. The guide is available in 11 languages now, and we share the data with existing tools via API or widgets, some tech tools. This makes the information accessible on any platform. For example, in France, we share the data with a platform dedicated to connected people with and without shelter in a neighborhood, allowing individuals to access information on nearby facilities without switching apps. We also provide guidance through online chat available on the Soliguide app, the platform, or social media, and via a phone number also available through SMS or WhatsApp. In some cases, people do not have access to the internet or mobile phone or Wi-Fi, so paper lists can be printed by the welcome centers and distributed in the centers. All of this is done in co-construction with stakeholders. Each time we deploy a Soliguide in a region, we ensure it is managed by local actors. Indeed, we do not establish the same priorities in rural areas where precariousness tends to focus on mobility or isolation issues, as in urban areas where the main issues are more economic. We implement several actions to ensure that local actors are aware of Soliguide, so with newsletters, webinars, operational committees, etc. And now that we have a lot of data on solidarity, many partners have requested to visualize it to understand the situation in their territory or on their specific topic. We provide dashboards that help identify solidarity issues, area lacking services, and allow for the anticipation of change. So I have some example here. We have a dashboard on the usage of the platform and tools that shows when searches are made and on which topics. While this does not give us a full picture of social needs, of course, in a territory or the state of precariousness, but it still helps us to identify trends as more than 4 million searches are made each year. We also have a dashboard that helps anticipate seasonal changes. In France, especially, summer and winter are times of significant change due to the heat wave, August 15 holidays, school vacations, or the extreme cold plan that forces people to be housed. Many volunteers run structures close, which has a big impact. We have a real-time territorial analysis dashboard, which show where services are located and how they are distributed across a region. We have also created a specific dashboard for access to food with information on access to organic food aid or a water fountain within 30 kilometers of populations below the poverty line, included coverage information for rural areas, etc., etc. For example, of what this can help accomplish, we worked with the city of Paris and the prefecture to anticipate the Paris Olympic Games. This event had an impact on access to aid, of course, as many areas were closed, tourism evolved, and homeless people were relocated in the region. Some facilities had to move, so actors needed support in finding solutions. So thanks to the data we collected, stakeholders were able to meet and define the actions needed to continue supporting people in need. So our impact today, we do some impact report based on the social return on investment method. So that's that methodology report the real social value in the country. So that's important for us. And we saw the social service actor believes Soliguide helps them provide better guidance, so allows them to direct people toward solutions that are relevant to their needs, and that's helped to developing mutual knowledge among actors and report having discovered new actors in their territory thanks to Soliguide. So thank you. Here's my contact if you want it, and I will share you the website in the chat to if you want to see Soliguide, Soliguia in Spain and other.
Yeah, thank you a lot, Alice, for the presentation. I think it was very interesting and also complementary to what Mona presented. And I was particularly interested about the parts with the showing the ability to react in time to changes of need, for example, seasonal needs that you addressed, also changes in the landscape for the Olympic and Paralympic Games. I think that was really interesting. And so I haven't seen questions in the chat box yet. So I will start the discussion and ask both of you, or to start with BAGW, with Mona. What are the challenges that you're facing when reaching out to people at risk of homelessness through digital channels compared to the traditional street work?
To be honest, I never worked as an analog street worker, so I can't tell what their challenges are, in fact, but I can tell what the challenges online are. And one thing is the research nationwide, so we have to trust the information we find online. Then another thing is that we don't have the possibility, like analog street workers, to invite people to offices. So we just have one chance, one contact to give the people the right information or the right place to be. This is, and yeah, and sometimes you get something like a heart or an emoji like as an answer, and there's a big space for interpretation. So what does dislike or heart mean? Does it mean, oh, thank you for reading my message? Or does it mean, oh, thanks, I understood everything you wrote? Or, oh, I went there and everything went fine? So you never know what it means, and there's a big room for interpretation. And sometimes we also don't get any feedback, and this is also compared to the analog world, yeah, different and challenging in a way.
Yeah, thank you, Mona. I just remind the audience, if they want to ask questions, they can type the question in the chat box or raise their hand and unmute themselves. So in the meantime, as you're thinking about questions, I ask Alice from Solinum. So I was very interested about the Soli data, and I was wondering whether you can give any concrete examples where policymakers, or whether there was a response on the side of funding or policy or similar in the service landscape to the data that you identified in your guide.
Yes. So we have a concrete cases of use for now, but not really policymakers in reacting to community needs, because it takes some time to do that. But for example, regional and interdepartmental directorate for housing and shelter in France uses Solidata to coordinate with local stakeholders. We are also currently involved in improving access to water and hygiene in France and Europe to better anticipate climate crisis. And however, I cannot say if Solidata has yet profoundly changed public policy, as decision-making processes are very slow. So for now, it's just like a case of use.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you a lot, Alice. That's very interesting about the coordination that can already be an impact and a change, what you mentioned with the Directorate for Housing, and certainly an impact to be noted. So maybe as I don't see a question in the Q&A, I ask both of you how would you assess the risks that are included in terms of privacy, exclusion of digitally marginalized groups, or misinformation when moving social services online? And maybe we can start with Mona.
I mean, out of my experience, I can say that a lot of people have access to mobile phones, to Wi-Fi and stuff like that. But of course, we have to think about people who don't have these things. And I also think that it's important that projects like the Social Media Streetwork project is there to, like you've seen that in the presentation, there's a lot of hate speech going on online. There's a lot of false information online, and I think it's very important to provide the right information and also reach out people who are affected by that hate speech to help them, and that a lot of people see that there is help out there. So yeah.
And for Solinum, so for the privacy protected or when search data, we do not have any personal data about people, meaning we do not know their profile or whether they are documented or undocumented, etc. So, however, we do not have detailed public information such as languages spoken by the facilities, the type of public they serve, or whether they are access conditions, or if it's unconditional. So far, having this information has not had any negative impact for now.
Yeah, thank you. So we have one question in the chat from Nadine Peters for Mona. Do you stay in contact with reach out, and do you follow their processes? What are the outcomes you're seeing, being able to step into the process sooner?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. So mostly the contacts are just one time. So I don't know if people went to the place I referred them to, or if the first information or initial information helped them. Sometimes people are answering and saying like, wow, thank you so much, this is empowering, and they try to do those steps I'm providing. And what we experienced is that we reach out people, for example, who can't pay the rent. And if we tell them what the steps are to do, they could just stay in their housing if they get the right help earlier. So I think one thing is if people get the information early and if they know what their rights are and what helps are out there, this is a big thing that they don't lose their houses. Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope this answered the question.
Yeah, one more question, because do you feel like, because I can imagine that because it's online, that it's easier for people to reach out sooner? Like most of the time, people who are becoming homeless, there's also like shame or guilt to ask for help. Do you see a difference in the people reaching out online and reaching out like in person?
I mean, that's very subjective in a way, because I just can tell what I am seeing and what I experienced before offline. So I see there are some similarities. For example, in my analog work, some people didn't know that they are homeless when they are sleeping at friend's couch or going back to their parents' home. And if I was telling them that they were homeless, they were looking at me with big eyes and were like, oh, really, am I? And the same is online. So we have to tell the people that sleeping at friends' couches, for example, means that you don't have a home, that you're homeless. So this is similar, but we also see that people are sharing sometimes more information about themselves. So for example, people are texting on the weekend in the night, and we are seeing this then during the working hours, and then you see that they just show everything what is going on in their mind. But I think that helps them to make some kind of prioritization of things, or to sort their things out. And I think this is a plus point online, because this helps people to let things go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question also. And so there are no questions in the chat. So maybe you could share something from, as we are seeing a lot of services also by local municipalities are moving online. so the digitalization of social services. Mona already mentioned or highlighted how important it is to see that digital services should not be in competition with in-person services, so that they should coexist and complement each other. Do you maybe have any observations about the digitalization of social services by local municipalities and any lessons that you learned from the services you are providing and recommendations that you would make from that experience for the municipalities? Yeah, maybe we can start with Alice.
So you talk about the digital literate or like trust in institutions, maybe, or I don't understand the question.
So I was thinking about the digitalization of social services, like online citizen services, like that you can ask for certain certificates or for information and do your paperwork online, and whether you have any lessons that you would offer to that process of digitalizing state services from the projects that you are implementing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. That's important to digitaling this kind of services for institutions, state, or NGO associations, because we can reveal all the data about regional or national needs, and the most important for our partner and stakeholders they're using the Soliguide is to understand real much which kind of search resources can be in the digital tools. For example, the most search resources are access to food for now, and it's important for the institutions to know that, and for the people that can be useful to be anonymous and be more anonymous on their profile, because we know there is some like a shame in needing help and in this kind of ask from people. So that's that's a good thing to do, some like digital thing to perform in the human confidence, and so yeah.
I also want to add that we sometimes experience that it's really hard to find the contact details and to find the right place to go. And research is a big topic in my daily work. So if I change my perspective and think I'm a person in need and want to look for the right place to go, it's quite hard to find it. So I think one recommendation would be that, for example, local municipalities or state service use simple language, maybe some graphical work that people easily understand where they should go, where they could call, what kind of online platforms are out there. And maybe they use social media, because a lot of people are on social media, and the information spreads easier and has a wider range. So that is what we are experiencing a lot, that it's quite hard to understand what's said on the website and what the help is exactly doing. So for us, it's also very good to connect with offline helps that we know where we could send the people. So we do a lot of exchange with, for example, emergency housing assistance in bigger cities that we know that we can refer people to their place that they have spaces to get new clients and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. I think that really shows the how the two modes of working really complement each other. That it's not, on the one hand, we need to do the research, as you say, to understand what exists and where to go, who to address, but also to confirm in real life that these services actually exist and they do cater to these groups. So yeah, I think that's very important in terms of the bridge building that you also already mentioned repeatedly before. And we have one question in the chat from Martin Elsenar, and he has a question about the Soliguide. Do you keep track of the effectiveness of the support offered or the services?
Yes, so we do not directly track the users, so we do not know if the service has been effective for them. But we have some form in the impact measure, and the form can help to know what the users find thanks to Soliguide. And however, what we can track is the user's journey on the platform, so we can see if they called the organization or clicked on the button to send an email, which helps us to understand whether it's working or not. But that's all for the tracking for now.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to circle back to the question of digital exclusion, because that's yeah, something that's discussed particularly for marginalized groups, which I believe yeah, which are your target population, and whether you yeah, have any experience from conducting the project, what could be helpful in terms of counteracting digital exclusion, and how to make these services accessible for people who maybe don't have their own mobile phone with internet on it, and any alternatives to reach people. Yeah, thanks. And maybe we can start with Mona.
I've heard of projects who are giving people smartphones or laptops or computers that they could also participate online. I also know emergency housing assistance where you can just go and be online. I know of my analog work that a lot of homeless people, also rough sleepers, go to the library or somewhere else where computers are to go online. So also rough sleepers, probably they have some kind of disconnections because the smartphone is, for example, stolen, or they don't have the access to charge it, or they don't have any Wi-Fi, but still also rough sleepers have smartphones. So I think there are ways people are getting online and have access to the internet. And I think that those projects who are providing smartphones, laptops, and stuff like that are very important, and there's a need for it. So
Yes, and to add some information about that, I think the biggest barrier we face is not necessarily that people don't have access to the internet. As Mona says, there is some library or Wi-Fi, or but rather that they don't always know what their needs are. So that's the most difficult for us. And we encourage people to use the platform through communication that tells them there is no shame in needing help, whether you are a student, a single mother, an elderly person, or someone who cannot afford clothes for a job interview. This is a situation that can happen to anyone. And we also now know that when people lack trust in institutions, it is because these institutions don't always provide the right response to their needs, as things can be complex. So the most important for us is to have a good communication about all the things to complete the confidence into something for the people.
Yes, thank you so much. So since there are no questions anymore in the audience, I would go ahead and share the word cloud with you to see, now that we've heard the contributions from the speakers, what the initial notions of digital streetwork were. So yeah, so a lot of keywords I think were a part of the presentation. Countering misinformation, mobile apps to connect to concrete services, and location-based information. I think that also came through with the what Alice shared about the Olympic Games, and I think also time-bound and outreach in digital spaces. That Mona shared a lot about the different channels they are communicating on. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming to the webinar, and thank you for the speakers, Alice and Mona. I think the presentations and the Q&A have really made apparent how these digitalization and digital services can help bridge the dots, so to speak, for particular services, even for target groups that are maybe not identifying as homeless or even at risk of homelessness. And to make sure that with the work that you are doing, that these particular organizations you're referring to actually help providing the services that they are anticipated, that we are not providing outdated information or scrolling through some labyrinth type of websites. I think also in terms of prevention, in terms of rural areas that are not reached very much. And I think it's very interesting development with the Solidata also to inform policymakers about gaps in the service landscape. We have to remind you once more about the links and the further leading information about the two projects. You can find them in the chat, and look up our speakers. And so thank you so much for your participation in the webinar, and have a nice rest of the day.